What you gon' do? Better run for shelter, cause it's all about the you. Giving straight pressure, that ain't nothing brand new. Grinding for the prize, cause it's all about the you. One-on-one, we the hottest team under the sun. We bringing back that grit, things about to get lit. You know how we coming. Ain't no new discovery. Come across that middle, you gon' need a long recovery. They asking if the U is back. Now we back to work, stay to Miami intact. Crystal ball is back. Green tree is rocking. Don't need no beat. When we run through that smoke, you gon' feel that defeat. Category 5, what you gon' do? Better run for shelter, cause it's all about the you. Giving straight pressure, that ain't nothing brand new. Grinding for the prize, cause it's all about the you. This ain't no fraternity, but we straight steppers. We bringing that heat, nobody doing it better. Your record got you flying high, make your wings stop, no lemon pepper. Orange and green is on top, the recruits know it's a new era. College game day at the rock, we bout whatever. We a family, a real tribe, championship survive. You see the U on the helmet, you know the vibe. We stay swagged out, putting y'all to shame, no surprise. Category 5, what you gon' do? Better run for shelter, cause it's all about the you. Giving straight pressure, that ain't nothing brand new. Grinding for the prize, cause it's all about the you. Championship's the motto. 83, 87, 89, 91, 2001. We about to get us another one. Let's have some fun. Let's go. We bleed this orange and green. Don't get this confused. We working. Go run for shelter, cause we coming. It's a cane thing, y'all wouldn't even understand. Category 5, what you gon' do? Better run for shelter, cause it's all about the you. Giving straight pressure, that ain't nothing brand new. Grinding for the prize, cause it's all about the you. It's all about the you. It's all about the you. It's all about the you.
Winning lottery numbers coming up.
CANES over here. Hey, we got the CANES over here. Category 5, what you gon' do? Better run for shelter, cause it's all about the you. Giving straight pressure, that ain't nothing brand new. Grinding for the prize, cause it's all about the you. One-on-one, we the hottest team under the sun. We bringing back that grit, things about to get lit. You know how we coming. Ain't no new discovery. Come across that middle, you gon' need a long recovery. They asking if the U is back. Now we back to work, stay to Miami intact. Crystal ball is back. Green tree is rocking. Don't need no beat. When we run through that smoke, you gon' feel that defeat. Category 5, what you gon' do? Better run for shelter, cause it's all about the you. Giving straight pressure, that ain't nothing brand new. Grinding for the prize, cause it's all about the you. This ain't no fraternity, but we straight steppers. We bringing that heat, nobody doing it better. Your record got you flying high, make your wings stop, no lemon pepper. Orange and green is on top, the recruits know it's a new era. College game day at the rock, we bout whatever. We a family, a real tribe, championship survive. You see the U on the helmet, you know the vibe. We stay swagged out, putting y'all to shame, no surprise. Category 5, what you gon' do? Better run for shelter, cause it's all about the you. Giving straight pressure, that ain't nothing brand new. Grinding for the prize, cause it's all about the you. Championship's the motto. 83, 87, 89, 91, 2001. We about to get us another one. Let's have some fun. Let's go. We bleed this orange and green. Don't get this confused. We working. Go run for shelter, cause we coming. It's a cane thing, y'all wouldn't even understand. Category 5, what you gon' do? Better run for shelter, cause it's all about the you. Giving straight pressure, that ain't nothing brand new. Grinding for the prize, cause it's all about the you. It's all about the you. It's all about the you.
Yo, yo, yo. What's going on, Canes fans and my college football family? Yo, we've got a defensive coordinator. The Miami Hurricanes have officially hired Corey Heatherman from Minnesota. We're going to talk about that guy tonight. He's growing on me a bit. I'm not going to lie. I was not sold on him initially. I've been trying to do some research deep dive a little bit. I'll continue to do that, as I'm sure many of you will do as well. And he's kind of winning me over a bit, but I'm kind of in that, hey, you got to prove it to me. Mario hasn't really been hitting home runs with all of his hires since he's been here at Miami. So this guy's got to show me. Now, we are going to talk about it more in depth here in a bit. I want to talk about Carson Beck. More importantly, this Carson Beck hate first. I do want to talk about that, talk about the portal QB situation here with Beck becoming a Miami Hurricane. And then we'll talk about the defensive coordinator hire, how we feel about him. Lucky for you guys, hey, I have prepared one of my award-winning, well-known PowerPoint presentations. That's right. So we have some slides locked and loaded, ready to go for your viewing pleasure that we will break out. Now, for the Canes fan members, just as a quick heads up, if you check out the emotes, there are new Carson Beck emotes. That's right. There are official Carson Beck emotes ready to go for the season. So you guys, hey, use those and use them often. I expect to see them in the chat blowing up. Yep. I thought about not putting the neck, but he kind of has a long neck. I'm not making fun of him because people say I'm his twin or he's my twin or whatever. I'm his uncle. I'm his cousin. So I left the neck. The neck is like a feature he's kind of known for. So, excuse me. So we're going to leave it. All right. So very happy to see everybody here in the building tonight. I see a lot of familiar faces, some OGs, even a couple new people. So I appreciate y'all being here. Now, let's just go ahead and dive right into it. I want to go ahead and get into it tonight. So speaking of Carson Beck, he has made it to campus. So there are some pictures and things floating around of him being there today. And, no surprise here. He is still in the brace. We know that he had the elbow surgery. There's no reason to freak out over that. We know that that's the case, but there he is on campus. We have a couple of pics here. I think he got to meet Dawson face-to-face here. That's right, he did. So Carson Beck there shaking hands with Dawson. Doesn't Dawson look like he just met his first love? Look at Dawson, man. Like that look, man, the direct eye contact, little subtle smile. This guy knows that he just got his quarterback. That's all I'm saying. This looks like a match made in heaven.
On the side of your helmet.
The co-OC has arrived live.
Melissa, thank you for the 2. I can't wait to hear your take on Carson Beck and this defensive coordinator. Yes, this man, look, I know it's not a huge smile, but this guy, look, I'm telling you, he's so freaking happy. So Carson Beck, again, on campus, a look there at the brace. And we're going to talk about this. I want to be blunt. I want y'all to be brutally honest on this Carson Beck thing because people keep telling me that I'm bringing up the Carson Beck hate and that it's not a real thing. And I'm telling you, my comment section is loaded down with Carson Beck hate, and I see it all over the Twitter timeline.
Dawson looks like he's giving him his blessing tears of joy.
Hey, man, look.
To wear to you.
That's my quarterback.
Side of your helmet.
All right.
Yo, what up, co-op? Cooking crab and watching the live.
Let's go, Zach. Let's go, man. We might open up the phone lines tonight. We might get a little wild. That's my quarterback right there. All right. I was very vocal when I said Carson Beck was not my first choice. People think that I was backpedaling on my opinion with the quarterback situation. No, Carson Beck was not my first choice. Who was my first choice? I didn't have one. I just said I wanted a 2+ year guy that would come in and compete. Well, that changed because anyone who met that criteria had been swooped up and taken. So at this point, given what the quarterback room looked like, Carson Beck is an upgrade. So I'm just going to flat out start out the stream by asking you guys, are you happy that Miami picked up Carson Beck out of the transfer portal? Just a simple yes or no. Are you happy that the Canes brought in Carson Beck? I don't know why I paused there. Yes or no? Yes or no? We have a three-way tie there from Melissa, Glenn G, and Zach Jones. I'll get y'all up there. Good to see you, Katie. Yes or no? Let's just go ahead and get it out of the way, because if every single person in here says yes, then let's not even have this discussion. Because the big thing is all the negativity surrounding it, and I'm just trying to figure out why people are calling Carson Beck trash, why they're calling him a bad quarterback, why they're calling him a mediocre quarterback, why they think it's a terrible fit at Miami. I am trying to personally wrap my head around it. The one concern that I understand people might have is the elbow surgery. I mean, who wouldn't? That's a pretty significant injury. He did have to have surgery, but here's what I've read online, and I'm not a medical expert, and I'm not going to pretend to be. But a lot of people have said it's not quite as extreme as people have said. They said it's a UCL repair with an internal brace, whatever that means. And they said that the healing time with that is cut in half compared to what that surgery would typically be. So this is a Brock Purdy type situation is what they are saying. They are very well aware that he will not be participating in spring. He has a team of people that have evaluated him that can provide a realistic time to return, and they know exactly what they're getting into. Do you think that they would spend that level of money and not believe that he'll be starting come next season? And see, that's what I keep saying. People keep running with that, Melissa, and they said that it's not exactly that. That the healing time, everyone says it's Tommy John surgery, it's going to be 12 months, it's going to be a year, he's not even going to be ready to throw the football around this August. Yes, he will. Now, how much of an impact will that have on his arm, on his elbow? I don't know. But I know that I trust the team of people, the professionals that can evaluate this guy and relay that information over to the coaching staff. And they feel like it was worth it enough to spend that money and bring that guy in and elevate this quarterback room.
Everyone is hating on him because they said he didn't play good last year, but he didn't have the best offense and the best wide receivers to catch a damn ball.
Don't you
That's
worry.
not his fault.
Don't you worry. I got the PowerPoint slides locked and loaded, Glenn. Thank you very much for the 10, Glenn. I'll sit you atop the throne. Look, man, I'm not. The only thing you could argue, I feel like, is if you want to say, hey, I'm a little scared about the elbow thing. People said he's got a noodle for an arm, and this is only going to make it worse. That's the only thing I feel like you could be possibly concerned about. The majority of fans just said, yes, they are happy. I'm not crowning him as a potential Heisman candidate. I'm not talking national championship. I'm just saying that bringing Carson Beck in was the right decision. And I think that it was a great move given what the portal looked like and the options that were available. I think that Carson Beck is a great pickup. Now, if you're a fan of an opposing team, of course you're going to say it's terrible. Of course, because, you did the same thing with Cam Ward, and I'm not comparing Cam Ward and Carson Beck. Cam Ward was a unicorn. There was no Cam Ward in the portal. There was no Cam Ward currently on the roster, and there was no other Cam Ward to go pick up. But they said the same thing, and don't lie. They said Cam Ward has a massive fumbling problem, and he's not a good fit at Miami. It's going to be a big issue. So if you're a fan of an opposing team, I feel like the Carson Beck hate is either because you're worried or you're jealous. I'm just going to call it how I see it.
I wouldn't be surprised if the injury made his arm better than what it was.
Maybe.
This is what it take.
Thank you, Glenn.
To wear you.
Thank you for the 5.
Your helmet.
Beck, Castellanos raising hands, light
I
skin
agree.
tone raising hands, light skin tone raising hands,
I agree.
light skin
Do
tone.
you take, how tall is Castellanos? 5'8", hasn't won a big time game versus you take a guy who is 24-3 as a starter in the SEC and has won some big-time games. Come on now. Guys, use your brains. What? So I think a lot of it might be undercover haters. I think it might, and if you're a Miami fan and you don't like Beck, it's okay, again. But I don't think that you can argue over his stats. You know how they say one man's trash is another man's treasure? Well, when opposing teams' fans say Carson Beck is bad, I don't think they realize how bad Miami fans have had it. I don't know if they understand the level of quarterback play that we have been dealing with over the years if you remove Cam Ward from the equation and one okay year from Tyler Van Dyke. Think about it. Here, let's take a look. No. Hold on. Now, this is funny because I prepared this and then I said, what do Miami consider to be a bad quarterback? Listen, don't laugh me out of here, okay? I didn't proofread my slides, okay? What do Miami fans consider to be a bad quarterback? Y'all remember us? 2023 Tyler Van Dyke? You remember Jaron Williams? And you're going to come on here. You can't compare it, Carson Beck to Cam Ward, because we said it. Cam Ward was 1 in a million. Hey, Jaron wasn't that bad. Man, if the rumors are true about him getting wasted the night before a game, come on, bro. Come on. So when you talk about dealing with quarterbacks like this, again, 2023 Tyler Van Dyke, and you could maybe even throw N'Kosi Perry in there. He had his moments, but still, if you compare Carson Beck to any of those guys, what are we talking about? Yeah, I see. Well, here then, let's do this. Let's look at a couple of things. Now, bear with me with this one.
To where to you?
Hold on a
On the
second.
side of your helmet.
Hold on a second.
What's good co-op?
Yo,
This is
King
what it
Muggin with the 2. Glenn with
To
the
where to
2.
you? On the side of your helmet.
Stephen Morris
Yeah.
wasn't good either.
And see, I get, Glenn, that people are going to say Coop, but we're looking at the future. So we don't want to talk about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 7+ years ago. But the point I'm trying to make is, when did we all of a sudden get so big-headed that we're turning down an SEC quarterback that is 24-3 as a starter and has put up stats? Let's look at 2024 Carson Beck. Now, remember, look at the bottom. Games played varies. So TVD only played 10, Ward 12.5, excuse me, Rozier 13, Ewers 14, Howard 14, right? Like, I know some of them played a couple different games, but you can do the math, roughly. If we look at first, I want to ask you something here. Look at Cam Ward's numbers compared to Ewers and Howard. We're talking about one guy that's playing in the national championship with Ohio State with Will Howard, and Ewers, who made it to the semifinals. Cam Ward had better numbers than them in less football games by quite a freaking bit. Less interceptions, more touchdowns, more yards. And the point I'm trying to make with that is, here's the reality.
This is what it take.
Bear with me.
To where to you?
Bear with me. This is going to
On the
make
side of your
sense.
helmet.
Beck had 2/5 of the best passing seasons in UGA history. One of those years his WRs led D1 FBS with dropped passes.
Thank you, Zach Jones, for the 5. We're going to come around full circle, I promise. Thank you, Juice, for the membership, bro. I appreciate you. I'm simping for Beck. Maybe I am. It's unbelievable seeing what some people are saying. Here's the point I want to make. Fix the defense. Because here's the thing, though. You got to understand, you can multitask. I'm sure Mario Cristobal can chew gum and walk at the same time. They hired a defensive coordinator today. They are working on addressing the defense. But the point I'm trying to make here is, look at Cam Ward's numbers compared to a guy that played in the college football playoff semifinals and a guy that is in the national championship. His numbers are better, and Miami still couldn't even play in the conference championship. Why? Got to fix the defense. They're working on fixing the defense. Address those issues, make it better. Give Carson Beck, whose numbers we're going to look at here in just a second, give him a good, solid O-line and some weapons, and this team could be good with him. I don't get how Carson Beck and trash belong in the same sentence. Carson Beck and bad belong in the same sentence. Now, is it technically, when we're looking at this, what he accomplished, a downgrade from Cam Ward? Yes, but again, everybody would have been a downgrade from Cam Ward. Can we agree on that? Pretty much everyone available would have been a downgrade from Cam Ward. That's just facts. So what has Miami been dealing with? We crowned Tyler Van Dyke. We thought, man, this is the next Heisman guy. He played a couple less games. I get it. But these aren't insane, crazy numbers when compared to Beck. Rozier, yes, a lot of that was coaching and the defense was amazing. But still, look, we were able to go to the conference championship, but we got smashed.
As long as the
Look
DC
at the numbers.
can make in-game adjustments,
Compare them.
Beck can just manage with the horses and it'll be a good season.
Yeah, I agree, Edward. I agree. Thank you for the 10, my man. All I'm trying to do is give you something to look at. I know this thing is all over the place, but I was trying to make multiple points. The fact that Cam Ward put up bigger numbers than Texas quarterback and Ohio State quarterback, and we still couldn't go to the conference championship or playoffs because we need to fix the defense. They're bringing in a new defensive coordinator and trying to address it. And the fact that people are calling Beck trash when this is really the three best quarterbacks statistically that we've had since 2017. We could go back further, and I know you could bring up Kaya and some other things, but going back to 2017, in his numbers, minus Cam Ward, are still on par or better than them. Carson Beck, on his bad day, is still better than a lot of the quarterbacks we've had in the past. So how can you say that he's bad? And I'm telling you, if you don't see it on this channel, it's a huge debate online. It's huge. That Carson Beck guy, I didn't want that guy. He sucks so bad. Huh? He played. Look how big of a step back he took in 2024. Who did Georgia beat this year? They had a much tougher schedule than we did. And we still couldn't get it done. So I'm just saying, he's a highly experienced guy who played a pretty tough schedule in the ACC, in the SEC, excuse me. He's going to be in the ACC now. And I think that at this level, at this conference, in the ACC at Miami, I think that he will succeed. I think he'll succeed. I'm just saying. Edward, I'll sit you up there with Glenn. I appreciate you. Rock and rant with the 5 months. Wild that our defense was buried in a hole all year and we turned to a gopher to get us out, and that our women's basketball team bailed out our quarterback room. I mean, never a dull moment with Miami. I say it all the time, Rock and Rant. I'm like, being a Miami fan, I promise you there's always something to talk about. Always. It's never a slow news day. Always something to discuss. Always. So I just wanted to make my point that Cam Ward possibly spoiled us a little bit, and it's okay to have the expectations high and to not settle. But I don't think Carson Beck is settling.
My only concern is the defense.
And that's fine. But they are, that's the thing, is they are addressing it. If we were sitting back and we retained Guidry and they were making no changes and they bring in Carson Beck, I can see fans saying, okay, I'm freaking out. We're over here trying to stack up the offense once again. That alone didn't do good enough for us in 2024. What's going on? But they're addressing it. We'll see if it works. We're going to talk about Corey Heatherman here in a moment. Lucky for you, I got some slides for him as well. But man, I'm happy with Carson Beck. I'm happy with him, and I'm happy to see that a lot of people here feel the same way. I'm not a sunshine pumper. I predict Miami losses. I'll tell you if I think that something sucks. And as long as that, literally, as long as the timeline is what they believe it will be with his recovery, I'm pretty happy with it. Now, do I think that Emory Williams possibly leaves after spring because of it? If Luke Nickel plays really well as a freshman, probably. Probably. I think so. But that's something that you have to be willing to take that loss. And it is what it is. And if you're worried about the money with Beck, I truly don't believe people grasp how much money they are willing to put into this team. I've heard $2 million, I've heard $2.5 million, I've heard $3 million, I've heard $4 million.
On the side of your helmet.
Beck will be fine as long his GF doesn't get in the way.
Thank you, King Muggan, for the 5. Appreciate you, bro. So, whose mind did I change? 4 is what's being reported. I've heard some people say that's a lie. It's not as high as 4. I've heard some people say it's like 2.5. Man, excuse me. 2.5 million plus some like incentives and some other things. We'll see. Either way, it was millions of dollars. It was millions of dollars. And I think that it will be money well spent. I do. Hate to say it, but I think Emory is gonzo as well. Good young man, but it ain't going to happen here. Do you guys think that Emory Williams transfers? I think so. I'm not trying to push him out. He would be the next guy up with the most experience. I think it just comes down to nickel. I don't believe, obviously, that Beck has been handed the keys. That's your starting quarterback. But who's going to be QB number 2? If Nickel plays really freaking well, like he comes out and he's impressing, Emory has to know then that he would have a hard time. Like if QB2 is like Williams or Nickel or Williams or Judd, you know you're not going to win that starting position in 2026. So you lose this year and possibly also don't start next year. If you want to play football, you'd have to leave. And again, I'm not pushing him out. I'm not pushing him out. I'm just trying to look at the situation and say, okay, here's what might happen. And then I'll ask this then. Who could Miami have gotten that was available this week that would have been a better option at quarterback? I'll wait. I'll legit wait because I want to see if anyone has a response. Who could they have taken that would have been a better option?
This is what it takes.
Yep, and see, it has to be someone who's available.
Beck is doing
I got you.
Got a multi-million-dollar deal and a Cavender twin. He Gucci right now.
Yeah.
LOL.
Living it up, man. Living it up. They were talking about even if he was making, let's say, $2 million, he can get more. And this applies for a lot of guys. They can get more staying in college another year than going and being a late pick in the NFL. Why not? Why not hang out in college another year, make millions of dollars, maybe then boost your draft stock and then end up with more money there at the end of the day too? It's a no-brainer. So yeah, it was a very smart move. Fergie with the 10, taking over the throne. I'll put you up there, bro. Yep. And see, that's just the reality. What's up, Kerry? Beck was struggling with O-line and receivers at Georgia. Luke will be QB too. Yeah, I think that Emory gets pushed out, Kerry. I agree with you 100%. It's not about hate towards any particular player or playing favorites. And I know that you followed him around. You've seen Nickel play in person many times, got to meet him. I think he's a great football player. I agree. Now, would he have won the starting job if they brought in like a 2+ year quarterback and had them all battle it out? I don't know. I'm not a fan of true freshmen starting, but this works out good. I think that Beck is the perfect bridge quarterback. You've probably heard other people use that term. into nickel starting possibly in 2026. Why did Georgia push Beck out? I think they were just ready to move on. They're high on that guy that they have. And, I mean, there comes a point in time when you're just kind of ready to move on. And, you know, of course, the injury, like we said, it does play a part. And I think that's what it is. Gunner seems very raw. They like him a lot. They like him a lot. And there are Georgia fans that are pissed that Beck left and that he's now at Miami. Yeah, and Mateer would have been high on the list, but again, not available. You know, they miss a shot on that. Was there interest from Miami in Mateer? Absolutely. Yeah. But they couldn't make it happen. So Carson Beck was the next best option. And I think you are out of your mind if you think he's a bad football player. I need to know what your definition of bad is. Because that just, it literally makes zero sense. What's up, Yulaha? It makes no sense to me. And we can circle back around and we'll talk about it. I do want to say that with Miami getting some of these transfers, they did get the other tight end from UAB, plus bringing in Carson Beck. So if we take a look at the 2025 transfer portal team rankings, as far as across the country here, that puts Miami at number 9, which is not too bad. And I believe in the ACC, that's right, that puts Miami at the number 2 ranked, we're talking portal class here, number 2 ranked portal class behind guess who? Uh-oh. Florida State knocking on the door. They're at the number 1 spot in the ACC. And that's crazy, man, to see some of the money that's being spent. Like Texas Tech, man, number 2 in the country with their portal class. Good grief. We'll see how that pans out. Nebraska's up there at 6. Mississippi State ahead of us at 8. Okay. All right. Okay, so that's where that puts Miami with the transfer portal rankings. That's my spiel on Carson Beck, what I think about him. Like I said, we can dive deeper and open up the phone lines. We ain't done, Coop. We ain't. They ain't. And what's going to be cool is, does Beck possibly give Miami the opportunity to get some other big offensive players in the spring portal? Yeah. That is a big name quarterback. So there are, boom. Kerry and I are like, man, we are in sync, Kerry. That definitely opens up the opportunity for some big time guys, especially at the receiver position. They want to go somewhere where they know they're going to have a solid quarterback throwing them the ball, and Beck is a big time name. And with big time names, that brings in some possible big time transfers to play with them.
To wear to you.
Yep.
The side of your helmet.
We're living off of Ward's standards.
Yeah. And the thing is that's where I think Flicks, and look, I'm not accusing all of you of this, but I think some of the people that I see online, they don't know how to like set your expectations high, but there is not a Cam Ward. There's not. And I think that Carson Beck, no comparison with what was available, was the next closest thing. If this guy can go 24-3 in the SEC, if they can fix the defense, give him an O-line and some weapons, I don't see why he can't do well in the ACC. Just saying. Jeremiah Smith, man, we're hoping. Bro, we're hoping. I don't know, though. Like, I don't see Jeremiah Smith leaving Ohio State, but man, wouldn't it be something? Man, that'd be crazy. I don't think it happens, but bro, it'd be so sick. That'd be so freaking sick. Don't think it happens. Don't think it happens. But anyways, let's talk about the defensive coordinator. So I'm sure you guys have seen it by now. I posted up a video before this stream. Corey Heatherman, defensive coordinator from Minnesota. We'll take a look at his coaching career and where he's been so far. He's been coaching for almost 20 years now, going back to being a quarterback's coach in 2006 at Fitchburg State. This is your new defensive coordinator that you're looking at here. Now, what's interesting is he started out really coaching on the offensive side of the ball, and then back in 2010, he started coaching linebackers, and then apparently never looked back after that. His most recent stint was at Minnesota for only 1 year in 2024, and he was brought into Minnesota to turn that defense around.
This is what it takes.
Here's what's kind of crazy.
To wear the U.
I'll give you some
on the
numbers.
side of your helmet.
Smith does want to come in Miami, though, man shrugging.
Yeah, man. I mean, excuse me. I'm still trying to recover from this sickness. I think so. But look, bro, dude's about to play in the national championship at Ohio State. We hype up Miami. We want them to be on that level, but they would have to prove it. So would he want to come in and think he could be the difference, or would they have to prove it first? And then would there be a fall off? I don't know, you know? Appreciate the two, Flicks. At Minnesota, he took a defense that ranked 69th in points per game allowed in 2023, and he took them to number 9. So from 69 to 9, and here's what's really funny about this. Sometimes the universe does some funny things. Miami was ranked 69th in 2024 in points per game allowed. So look, man, imagine if we ranked number 9 in points per game allowed defensively in 2024. Man, we probably would have been in the conference championship game at the least. I know different set of players, different set of circumstances, totally different environment. But still, it's just funny that they were 69 and they went from 69 to 9. And now he's coming into Miami, and Miami is 69 in points per game allowed. Some other interesting numbers to talk about here with Corey Heatherman. 5th in the country in yards allowed per game. Again, all of these are from Minnesota with him as their defensive coordinator last year. They lost to Penn State by 1, but held them to 1 of 11 on third downs. These are just some quick hitters. 9th in the country in points per game allowed, like we talked about, which is 16.9, and a top 15 defense in passing and rushing yards allowed. Again, I know that it's two totally different places, but if he could even just mimic something close to these numbers, and Miami could just try to get close to what they did, top 5 in multiple categories offensively, maybe, just maybe, we could do something with this guy. Now, I said I wanted a guy with a proven track record at a high level. That's not this guy. It's not. I mean, he was coaching at lower levels, climbed the totem pole, got to Minnesota, did his thing. A lot of places wanted to poach him. Miami comes in, backs up the Brinks truck, and they say, come to Miami and make a really big name for yourself. And he comes in. I have to see it. Overall, I'm okay with this hire. I like it. This guy is, they call him a strategy guy, a tactician. He eats, sleeps, breathes defense. He's high energy. He's vocal. He's big on pressuring the quarterback.
This is what it takes.
Defensive ends love playing for this guy.
To wear the U on the side of your helmet.
Miami has better players than Minnesota and can get better players.
Now, this is fair. This guy would have, not arguably, would have had less talent at Minnesota and ran a better defense.
We ballin', boy.
I think they lost to Michigan by like 3. They lost to Penn State by 1. They did beat a couple, at the time, ranked teams. They did give up 31 to Iowa, if I'm not mistaken, and opposing teams' fans are going to throw that in our face, and they're going to say, this dude gave up 31 points to Iowa. But listen, hear me out, man. Hear me out. Give me a defensive coordinator. Like, I don't mean literally, but you could plug in a defensive coordinator in the live chat, and I can go find some game where he gave up a lot of points. to probably somebody that he shouldn't have, or made some kind of boneheaded mistakes, had guys out of position, something like that. We can play devil's advocate with that. We can cherry pick all these different things. You got to understand that when you look at what we did defensively, let's be real for a moment. We didn't do anything good. So when I looked at these numbers, hey, we'll see if he can do it at Miami, but he should have more talent. I can promise you that with this guy, you're not going to see the communication issues like you saw with Guidry. And that alone is huge. That is huge for me. I appreciate you. Came for life, 75, 59 months. Anything has to be an improvement at this point. The only thing I don't like to say is, well, it couldn't be any worse. Because I've learned my lesson in life with that. You can't say it could never be worse, because it could be. Can he motivate? Yes. This guy is, excuse me, very animated, very vocal, and I like that a lot. It would also be interesting to see if in that spring portal window, if any players on the defensive side of the ball at Minnesota decide to come over with him. I don't know if there's anybody that we would want. We'll have to do some research on that. But sometimes you might have some guys that say, hey, coach, you got an opening over there for me at Miami. We'll see. What I wanted to ask you guys about when it comes to this guy, is there anyone on the defensive side of the ball with the staff that you would hope is retained? Is there anybody? Because typically when a coordinator comes in, he wants his guys. So he's going to want to handpick, position coaches and have input. Is there anyone you would hope is retained? I'm curious. I think I know what y'all are going to say. Okay, yep. Jason Taylor, because we know Salavea is gone. I'm sure most of you are up to date on that. Salavea has went to Arizona. Chevis Jackson, I think, is it USF? UCF, USF? Somebody was interested in Chevis Jackson that was going to be gone. So Melissa says no. David Everett, Jason Taylor. Michael, no. Yeah, I think I wouldn't mind having that safety, Jordan. Miami still, I would like some more corners and safeties. Yeah. Taylor. Taylor can go too. JT. No, but you hear JT is safe. Yeah.
To wear the U on the side of your helmet.
So let DC bring in his guys.
My opinion
new
was
blood.
I don't mind if they did clean house. If they wanted to wipe everybody out and start fresh, I would not be upset. I would expect them to retain Jason Taylor for the name, for the pull with the name. I think that retaining Jason Taylor makes a lot of sense, and it's no hate for anyone. This is a business, and we want the team to win as fans. But I would not be mad if they got rid of everyone. I'll just say it. The players like Derek Nicholson. D. Nixon, all right, dude, But if they want to can him, it's fine. It's fine. If they want to can Jason Taylor, it's fine. I'm not really going to be super upset either way. But I do think that the fan base is hoping that they retain Jason Taylor, obviously with the ties and with the big name. And has he helped with recruiting? Definitely. Yeah, he definitely has. Is it Wake Forest for Chevis Jackson? I knew it was somebody that was interested or that he was going to go ahead and go. We can pull this back up. Look at his career again here. Minnesota has some linebackers. You would like two to come with him? Yeah, I'm not a huge Dolphins fan. Like, I'll watch Dolphins games. I'm not a huge fan of any NFL team, really. I like the Cowboys, the Dolphins, Jags, maybe Titans if Cam Ward goes there. Melissa says she'll buy Chevis Jackson a plane ticket. Hold on, y'all. Sorry, my dog's in here going crazy. Hold on. Give me a second. Let me put up a picture or something while I move him out of here. Hold on. Yo, I'm back. Okay, who put that up there? Hold on. Guys, it's not even close. It's not even close. I don't understand it. So the thing is with Corey Heatherman, y'all better not. You better not. I'll ban you. Corey Heatherman is kind of a wait and see for me. But if I had looked at the numbers, definitely feels like an upgrade over Guidry, but time will tell. Mario Cristobal does not get a pass on these hires. I mean, he's going into year 4, and we've cycled through so many coaches, it makes my head spin. And it's very tough when you keep hitting the reset button, even when it's necessary. Most people wanted Guidry gone. Of course, we wanted Gaddis gone. We wanted Steele gone. But every time you hit that and reset, man, it gets kind of tough. So Mario does not get a pass for that. He's known for this, crazy interview process, and he's so picky about who he brings in. And he's not really hit home runs with a lot of these guys. So we will see. But Corey Heatherman has grown on me. He has. And it's a guy that it scared me because as soon as I saw his past, so I saw like James Madison, Rutgers. I guess Rutgers is not necessarily terrible, but, Pace, Maine, Old Dominion, a GA at Springfield, and I was like, what are we doing? And then I looked at what he did at Minnesota in 1 year with their schedule, which was not like, look, bro, listen, let's take a look at Minnesota's schedule. Now, again, we're focused on what happened defensively because we snatched up their defensive coordinator. But I mean, you've got Michigan on here, you've got USC on here, you've got Illinois on here, you've got Penn State on here. They beat Virginia Tech in the bowl game. I don't believe Drones was playing, but still, that's a 24-10 victory. And like I said, they lost to Penn State by 1. Make this bigger. 26-25. If he was coaching, or if we had played Penn State, how much you think we give up? A heck of a lot more than 26. Right? So there is definitely potential here. Definitely potential. They played a harder schedule than Miami. Probably. Michigan, USC. I mean, we ended up, we didn't get any help from our opponents, unfortunately. But we didn't play any ranked opponents, and we didn't beat any. They beat a ranked Illinois at the time and a ranked USC at the time. Lost to Penn State by 1, who almost went to the freaking national championship. So I'm happy with the way a lot of this is coming together. Carson Beck plus the Carson Beck effect and being able to bring in more weapons offensively with his big-time name, bringing in a defensive coordinator that with his energy and the style of defense that he runs gets guys excited. They want to play for him. The spring portal window, that should open up opportunities on the defensive side of the ball as well. This is coming together pretty well. I'm not going to come on here and be like ACC championship game appearance, national championship in January. We do this every year. But I like how it's shaping up, though. I'm a pretty big fan of it. Can you throw like your twin Beck? I can sling it. Oh yeah. What's up, Mike Jeezy? So I blasted through that. He is not Cam Ward. No one is. Who is a Cam Ward in college football right now that would be available to transfer to the team? Nobody. So even though we want to make Cam Ward like the standard, nobody out there could meet that right now that would be available and could be a Miami Hurricane. Nobody. So it's why I don't get why there's so many comparisons to him. And I'll be real with you. I was even hesitant at first to even put Cam Ward on this. I didn't even put Cam Ward on here to compare him to Carson Beck. I should have moved him down here because the Cam Ward comparison was to Ewers and Howard. It wasn't about comparing him to Beck. They're not going to hit these numbers. And they didn't hit these numbers. So I wasn't even trying to compare those two guys. Like I said, the standard, yes. Is anybody out there going to be him or meet these that was available? No. So, Carson Beck was the next best option that was available. Yeah, I think that we should be okay. We should be able to get him. If the defense is 50% better, we win at least 11 games next year. I hope, man. I hope. I heard on another channel that there are only 13 players from Mario's first 2 recruiting classes left on the roster. I would have to do the math, but that might be close. That might be close. And I know that there's a lot of frustration over not developing players. I sit in the middle. I mean, you would be silly to not use a resource that is available to you that other teams are using, aka the transfer portal. Like, if you have a position of need, even if it is your own fault, so like not having a franchise quarterback on the roster that can come in here and play for 3-4 years is whose fault? Mario Cristobal, Dawson, whoever's on the staff, it's their fault.
This is what it takes to wear the U on the side of your helmet.
But
Cam's like, now you guys want to make def changes, pouting, rolling on the floor, laughing.
But at the same time, then the portal is there for you to try to put a Band-Aid on it. So if you were to sit back and say, well, we screwed up, I guess we're just going to be screwed. No, you have to try to attack it and fix it. And do they need to be better at bringing in some long-term guys? Sure. But for now, you also have to win now. If you don't win now, the fan base is going to eat you alive. So they're trying to do what they can. I mean, technically, year 3 was Mario Cristobal's best year. All the opposing teams fans, you had Cam Ward and you still couldn't win the conference. You had this $20+ million roster and you won nothing. Well, Miami didn't win nothing. Miami won 10, which was the most games they've won since 2017. Was it still a letdown, and are we pissed? Yeah. But you can't say Miami didn't win anything. You especially can't be chirping, no offense, Nick or Joel, if you're here, if you won 2 games. You won 2 games and you're yapping about a team winning 10. I don't want to hear it. It's more so Miami fans just being let down because we had the Cam Ward. We had the, top transfer portal QB, which, by the way, Carson Beck is the top transfer portal QB. He's ours now. As soon as he entered, he was ranked number 1 above everyone that was available and everyone that had been taken.
To wear the U on the side of your helmet.
BS. Womp womp. Portal is a thing. Teams are gonna use it to make the team better. Every HS class doesn't hit. Without the portal, GT wouldn't have Haynes King. Y'all stop disagreeing with Co-op. He's right.
And I'm not always right. I'm wrong all the time. But yes, I do think that if you want to compete in today's times, you have to use the resources available to you, and you have to make the most of it. And as much as it can be annoying, times have changed. So, I see some older fans. I get it. Thank you for the 10, Zach. I'm not upset with you for feeling this way. You're allowed to feel this way. But they say, well, they got to play like they did back in my day. Okay, well, if they were to hit like they did back in your day, in today's game, that would be targeting. So your best player, the linebacker on the defensive side of the ball, gets hit with a targeting penalty. He's out for the game. He can't help you anymore. You have to evolve with the game. So since people are attacking the transfer portal, you're able to fill those positions of need. You got to do it if you want to compete. And it's just, again, it's part of the game now. Things have changed a bit. It's not the same game that it was 10, 20 years ago. It just is what it is. And I'm not saying that it's all good. It's very frustrating in a lot of ways. But I don't get how people would sit back and expect Mario Cristobal to not go get a portal QB when you have Emery, Judd, and Luke. And I love those guys. But you needed to go get a portal quarterback, and they went and got the top-ranked transfer portal quarterback for the second year in a row. Any word on Jason Taylor? As many others have said, he's probably staying. But, it could change at any point, right? It could change. Yes, you have to use the systems that are available. Yep, even Dabo had to cave in. Blocking, running, tackling, catching better than your opponent is as true today as it was 20, 30 years ago. Horton, come back now. So, should we open up the phone line? Should we call it? I went through that again just way quicker than I anticipated. I really want to watch again if Emery Williams transfers. I think he possibly does if Nickel plays well. The spring portal window, bring in maybe a couple more wide receivers. Obviously, the defensive side of the ball, let's bring in some big-time corners and safeties. Fill out the rest of this coaching staff on the defensive side of the ball with the new DC, Corey Heatherman. Let him make his picks, give his suggestions on guys. And let's get it. Let's get it, man. Yeah, Mateer probably would have been another great option. Yeah, now how much eligibility did Mateer have left? Was he a 1-year guy or a 2-year guy? I don't remember. See if I can find that out. I know it doesn't matter, but I think he had 2 years left, right? But he might only play 1, then go to the NFL. But he had 2. Okay. So Mateer might have been a guy that would have been on my list just because, again, a 2-year guy, don't guarantee a starting role and let him compete. But Mateer's going to be the starter. So it is what it is. You know who our guy is? I just put him in the chat right now. Yeah. That guy. Maybe we do take a couple phone calls. You can give your opinion on Corey Heatherman. or you can give your opinion on the Carson Beck situation. Again, if you say no one's hating on Carson Beck, open your eyes. That's all I got to say. Open your eyes. I promise you. Let me get it opened up here. We won't stay live real long. We'll do maybe like 20, 30 minutes of phone calls. We'll keep them short, and we'll go from there. Coop is objective with his takes. He's not in here dispensing Kool-Aid or going off script handed to him from the ADPR department. That's why Coop gets attacked unfairly. Yeah, and I'll be honest with people, right, Katie? If I feel a certain way, I've had some people say that, even with the Cam Ward situation, people say, Coop, you flipped. I didn't flip. People just misunderstood what my opinion was because I probably worded it poorly. No one is going to tell me what to say or not to say on this channel. There's a reason why I don't work with a network. And it's no hate towards anyone that does. But I'm not going to let them tell me. If I want to come on here and say, you know what, this season feels wasted and I'm pissed at Mario for not putting it together, whatever I want to say, I'm going to say that. You're not going to tell me what I can't say. No, not going to do that. All right, it's open. Melissa, what's up?
What up, Coop? It's been a while since I got in first.
Yeah. So, what do you think about the new Carson Beck emote in the chat? Isn't it great?
I'm still waiting for a hoodie girl emote. I can't believe Carson Beck's only been a king for like 48 hours, and I still don't have one, and I've been a king for like 20 years.
Look, we want to pump him up. We want him to, like, I can close my eyes and see it on a Saturday afternoon. He throws his 5th touchdown pass in the first quarter, and everybody's just spamming Carson Beck's head in the live chat. I can see it right now.
Well, I mean, there are 8 home games next year, so you have no excuse. You better be coming to one.
Yeah, I missed seeing Cam Ward. I've already moved on. I missed seeing Cam Ward play in person. I got to see Carson Beck in a Miami uniform.
I've seen Cam Ward play in person 7 times this season.
What was the record out of the 7?
The only loss we had was the bowl game, and he only played half.
Okay. So pretty good record. All right.
Because I went to 5 of the 6 home games. One of them I had the flu for. And I went to the Cal game, and I went to the bowl game.
Now, speaking on Beck for a second, I know you've probably seen a little bit of the hate on Twitter, and a lot of it's opposing teams fans, but there are a lot of Miami fans that are, it seems like most people agree in this live chat, and the people who don't like him aren't being dicks about it. The people that are being really rude about it, tagging him, saying, you suck, I didn't want you on this team.
Yeah, the douchebags are not Miami fans. The Miami fans that I've seen that don't like it aren't being complete, douchebags. I mean, I have a few friends I've talked to who aren't excited about the hire, and then I've kind of talked to them and been like, hey, listen, like, this is what's going on, this is what we're getting. And then usually I'll end with, give me a name that is a reasonable get that's better than Carson Beck, and then they don't have an answer for me.
Yep. Exactly. So you are a fan of the Beck edition?
I am very much a fan of the Beck edition. Apparently, I'm not somebody's cup of tea. That's a shame.
But yeah, I'm not. I'm still trying to learn about the whole injury thing. But it seems like with what they're saying, his is that it's like half the time of that Tommy John surgery.
So he didn't. So I think the confusion. I'm not an orthopedic specialist or whatever. I mean, I work in medicine, but orthopedics is not my specialty. But he didn't have the full-on Tommy John surgery, which limits baseball pitchers for a year. He had some type of mini repair, so it's way less of a recovery time. And from what I was reading, he'll probably be able to start throwing in May. So he'll miss spring ball, but he should be good for the summer, is from what I understand, assuming there's no setbacks.
That's kind of what I've seen, kind of the same thing. And I understand there are some people concerned about chemistry, with the players and things like that. But I still think that's plenty of time. They're confident in his, assuming that he heals up, right? they're confident in his abilities. So they're not concerned about that. He can be working on learning the offense and kind of going through the motions and stuff without going out there and fully, throwing the football around. So he's a smart guy. He'll be able to handle that. They just might have to work on some timing things.
He played in the SEC.
Yeah.
I mean, he regressed this year from the previous year, but I think Georgia had 40 drops or something this season. It should, in theory, be different than from what Cam had to do, because Cam kind of had to play hero ball because we didn't have a defense at all. In theory, our defense should be a lot better with the additions we're making, and hopefully this new DC hire turns out to be a home run. But we have the offensive line, we have the running backs, we have some really good young talent at wide receiver. I expect us to probably get a big-time guy in the spring portal, and that's what a lot of the rumors are spreading around.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he's going to be put into the position that Cam was, where we have to outduel these teams. I think we should hopefully be, in theory, more balanced. But he played in the SEC for 2 years, so he's obviously not terrible. He has a winning record. And yeah, I think I don't think you were going to find somebody better at this point.
I agree. Now, shifting.
And also, if people are worried about his injury, if you don't think Miami had physicians look at his elbow and look at his medical records and determine what the probability of him healing and everything is, then they're crazy, because all of that got evaluated.
Yeah, that's another point that I keep trying to make in my videos and on Twitter and stuff. I'm like, do you think they were just we'll just chance it? We'll spend millions of dollars and we'll just hope it works out. No, that's
not how it works.
Exactly. Now, what about shifting gears real quick here, the Corey Heatherman? Because, when I saw that news today, I'm not going to lie, I panicked at first. I said, number one, because I'm not going to lie, I watch a lot of college football, but I don't follow Minnesota. So right out of the gate, I was like, who's Corey Heatherman? I've never even heard of this guy. I want this big-time name, this big proven guy, not an up-and-comer. And then I did some research, and I was like, you know what? This might be okay. I'm going to kind of, just sit back and watch and see. What do you think about him?
I don't think we were going to get some big-time name, because any big-time name at DC is probably looking for a head coaching job. The first thing I noticed when it was announced is that there were a lot of Minnesota fans in the comments that were really upset. So unlike when Guidry left and Miami fans were cheering and were really excited, it's good to see that Minnesota fans were upset because they like him. From what I'm reading about him, obviously I don't follow Minnesota football, but it is a Big Ten team. So power conference defensive coordinator, not, a group of five guy like Guidry. Turned around a bad defense to a good defense this past season in 1 year. And from what I'm reading is he's very aggressive and is very particular and very meticulous when it comes to how he coaches and how his players play. So I don't think we'll be seeing a lot of the defense scrambling around with pre-motion, pre-snap motions and stuff. I think,
Dingo.
The IQ on the field, again, in theory, I'm using that word a lot, should be better. But I'm not going to, count my chickens before they hatch, because this is our third defensive coordinator in 4 seasons. So I'm
This is what it
content
takes
with the hire, but I'll wait
you
till I see it on the
on the
field.
side of your helmet.
I agree with you
Colin
100%.
Got a rant about Beck.
I'm not just agreeing to agree. I disagree with you if I didn't feel the same. That's exactly how I feel. And that's the feelings I tried to express in my video that I uploaded about the hire. I have to see it, but I like the way that the guy runs his defense. I like the way he carries himself. So we'll see. I don't dislike the hire. I'll say that.
Yeah, I don't dislike it either. I think it's an upgrade from Guidry, because he was coaching in a Power 4 conference this last season. Again, he's only had 1 season in a P4 conference. But he did help develop a second team All-American, all Big Ten safety, I believe, who's a freshman or something. Forgot what the stats were. So maybe we could, do some business in the spring portal. A lot of people are talking about on Twitter about rating Minnesota's defense. These players can't enter the portal. the head coach didn't leave. It's the DC. So the portal doesn't
Right.
reopen for them.
Yep.
So if we're going to take anyone from that portal, it would be in the spring. And also that guy that everyone's talking about, that one safety, he's a Minnesota native. So he's got to really like playing for that DC to leave because he's playing at home.
It'd be kind of hard to lure that guy away. It'd be cool. I wouldn't hate it.
No, I mean, he looked really, really good. But we've
Yeah.
already made significant upgrades on the defense without a DC hire. So I'm hoping that it will only get better with maybe some of because the playoff teams, the ones that just lost and the ones that are still in it, they still have the chance to enter the portal when their seasons are over.
Mhm.
So we'll see if anything comes of that. And now that we have the DC hire, hopefully we can make some more changes in the spring because we're going to have more transfers in the spring. You know, not just getting guys in, but guys leaving too.
Yep. All right, Melissa, I appreciate
This
your
is what it
take
take
on Beck and
to where you
Heatherman. We're pretty
I'm
much
sorry
on
your
the
help.
same page.
I just want to be
We usually
dominant.
are.
Haven't
Yep.
I
been
think
in a hole.
someone in the chat said that I'm also related to you and Beck, apparently.
Maybe we're all, I'm telling you, Melissa, can you be like 100% honest with me? Do you see any resemblance at all? Don't troll me.
Slight,
I don't
very
see-
slight. You look more like Mike McDaniel.
That you know what? That's true. That's true.
But like you and Beck look like you could be like what, second cousins maybe?
I don't see it. I swear I don't.
But like McDaniel could be like your brother.
Yeah, I need to put up a side by side of me and McDaniel again because yes, I do definitely. Now I told people before, after seeing some numbers thrown around with Beck's NIL deal, I need to pick up the phone and be like, "Hello, long lost brother Beck, brother from another mother. Hello, yes, good to see you. Can I come over?"
and when you reconnect with your family, then we can get the Cavenders to come on my basketball pod.
There we go. Well, it's a win across the board.
And
all right.
Not that you've had me on your show ever, but you know.
Melissa, we appreciate you, and we'll just keep the train rolling here. I appreciate the call.
All right, have a good night, Coop. Glad
All
you're
right.
feeling better.
Peace. Thank you. See you.
Bye.
Right, y'all are still trolling me. Still. I do look like Mike McDaniel. I look like Mike McDaniel, 1,000%. That dude we could be brothers. We could be. I do not look like Carson Beck, and Beck does not look like me. I appreciate the call, Melissa. Jordan Poole, thank you for the 2. You just want to be dominant. I agree. I want to be in the driver's seat, Jordan. One time. Dang. Randy Ellison, thank you for the sub as well. Okay, it's open. It's open. Mr. Nick Snyder, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm all right, man. I'm feeling pretty good. We got a quarterback. We got a defensive coordinator this week. It's been pretty exciting, you know. Never a dull moment as a Miami fan.
All right. And just so everyone else knows, I am a resident FSU fan. So I have a little bit of an outsider's take on this.
Yes. Now, are you speaking on Beck or Mr. Heatherman?
I'll speak on Beck, really.
Okay.
No shade at all. In fact, I think he's a fantastic player. I think playing in the SEC with those expectations that Georgia has, you have to be above average. So there's definitely no hate to his game. And when you have 30 to 40 drops, somehow, I don't know how their wide receivers coach has a job in Georgia because those guys just failed that man.
Like, we're talking about a guy that even in what people say was his worst season, and it's not all him, it's a team effort, but this is still the guy that was the quarterback of the team that won these games, I'm about to say. They beat Clemson in game 1. They beat Texas in the regular season. They beat Florida. They beat a ranked Tennessee team. They lost to Ole Miss, with Kiffin there. But still, a much tougher schedule than what Miami had, and he was still able to lead the team to some big-time wins.
Well, the thing to consider there is, and I'll throw a little shade towards my school at this because everyone loves to talk about 63-3. Well, how did that Orange Bowl result happen? Yes, it was FSU not playing so many NFL players. But when Kirby tried to call the dogs off literally in the second quarter, their twos beat the crap out of us. And then their threes beat the crap out of us. So the point I'm trying to make is they've recruited at an elite level for over 5 seasons where they're just stacked 5 and 4 stars on top of each other and even weed those out because the 4 and 5 stars that aren't performing get into the portal. So Beck had premier, exceptional talent around him, which is weird to say because we just dragged on them for dropping all those passes. Miami doesn't have that. No one has that other than Ohio State, probably, that talent level.
Mm-hmm.
So how Beck performs off of an injury is kind of a question mark. I will say, as a rival fan, George and I were completely in agreement with this. If you ever see a rival spend a ton of NIL money on one dude that's coming off an injury, that's a win. That's where FSU and UF are a little excited. Because if you guys need recruits elsewhere, which you do on the defense for this DC, that's a whole lot of money that's not going towards the defense. So this might be a can Carson Beck win shootouts sort of Miami team again.
Now,
and Beck ain't no Cam Ward.
So are you less or more concerned over the Miami game with the addition of Beck to the roster?
Slightly more. I think Miami had worse quarterback options. Beck improves that, but
so you're more concerned over the game now that Beck is on the team.
Yeah, no, to be fully transparent, Beck makes Miami better.
Okay.
But I don't know if he's $4 million worth better. There had to be someone out there that was competent that could see. What is Miami's identity on offense? Are you air raid? Are you option? Are you run first? Like, what is Miami trying to do on offense with the offensive coordinator?
Well, I don't know if it changes any with Beck. Like, I mean, Beck is definitely not going to be able to extend the plays in the way that Cam Ward did. So it might change slightly.
Because people in chat talk about, Castellanos. Castellanos fits what Gus Malzahn, who is our offensive coordinator, and what Norvell wants to do. Beck is a better quarterback than Castellanos.
I forgot that
y'all have a dude that fits the system.
I forgot y'all added Malzahn.
Yeah, people do. They're like, oh my God. No, we have Gus Malzahn, which is the greatest of ironies because we kicked his butt for the national championship when he was at Auburn. So now we have the guy that we beat for a national championship running our offense 11 years later. But he's run first, and he's off of Norvell is off of the Malzahn tree, which is why he hired him. So an elusive Castellanos is way better in our system than a Carson Beck would. And we just saw that. DJU is not a Jordan Travis-esque. Like, he's got no mobility. He wanted to just pocket pass. And that didn't work worth a darn. So you have to have a guy that can run your system. And if your offensive coordinator can run with Beck and that gels and he heals well, I think you guys will have a good year. But man alive, it's risky. $4 million, a giant chunk of that NIL money.
I think Miami they're willing to spend the money. I don't think it'll be too big of an issue. But I understand where you're coming from.
Well, willing to spend the money is one thing. So I know, rumored, Florida State spent $10 million on our team last year. So being in the ACC, when we don't have Big Ten and SEC money, how big can the budget actually be? It's really easy to spend other people's money. It's really easy to say, oh, there's boosters out there that just spend $20 bills that are actually million, all this kind of stuff. But what is it? Like, is it 10 million? Is it 15 million? Ohio State spent 20 million on theirs.
20 million seems to be the magic number. 20 million bucks.
Miami has 20 million on their NIL budget. And 4 of it went to one guy.
I think that it's. I can't. I better stop
think it's
myself
around
there.
10.
I better 10. You think it's 10 for Miami?
Yeah, I don't see it going that much higher. How much did Cam Ward cost? I mean, season's over. How much did Cam Ward
This is
cost?
what it take to wear the U on the side of your helmet.
Look. I don't.
Melissa was right. No one asked.
Castellanos
no,
is
no, look,
doo-doo.
it's
Quitter.
it's all speculation. Nobody knows real numbers, right? I think personally, I'll just say definitely we're speculating. We don't know for sure. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, everyone
Leave it
is.
at that.
There's no
Yeah.
contract. No one, like,
Yeah.
it's fun to. Some guy on Twitter said 4 million, which is what I'm saying. It could have been 2 to 4 or whatever. I don't even know my own team. I don't know how much we spent on DJ, for example.
Right. All right. What do you
it's
think?
kinda
What do you think
whatever.
about that DC? You think that's a good hire for Miami?
Oh yeah. And this isn't, again, shade. Florida State did the same thing. We raided Nebraska. We took almost their entire defensive staff. You guys kind of did the same. A guy had some success in Minnesota.
Yeah, I
Had
know.
success against those teams, and you're just like, yoink.
Yeah, Melissa
Better weather,
touched
come
on
down
that. They did not want to let that guy go. Their fan base
No,
is
and
upset
Nebraska
about losing
pissed.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, Nebraska fans were all down our throat, and we're like, hey, I'm happy y'all are mad because that means we got a guy that's quality.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I
Florida
agree.
State's, though, running a 3-3-5 now, so I'm very excited about that. I don't know if your DC has a specific scheme he wants to run or if he's just like a pure better coach. It's hard to get. I was pro firing Guidry. You got to fire people in a position of strength. That's what Florida State didn't do in 2023. So, yeah, you guys made the right move sacking him and getting, I think, a big upgrade.
Well, I need Florida State to be better so the game means more, but I need y'all to win 7 or less because of my bet with Joel Davis. So
I think we're going to win 8 to 9 because I mean, we've already made portal additions for the line specifically, barring injuries. If we can block our run schemes, which is what Gus and Norvell want to do. Yeah, I mean, we were in a lot of games last season. It's just the offense couldn't do anything. We had an offense that was literally 2 steps above the worst. I think we were like 131 or something. They just couldn't do anything. Oh, you want to bring that up?
it's too early, right?
Don't
Like,
do W's and L's.
Look, realistically,
We're beating Alabama.
Bro, it's January. Let's be real. It's January. Whoa. Whoa.
Yeah, we're beating Alabama. I can do it if you want.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so we're beating Alabama. I don't know what team Alabama's bringing. Milrow's gone. East Texas win. Kent State win. I'll take a W against the Gators. I'll take an L with the Tigers. A W with the Canes. Win against Pitt, Virginia Tech, Wake. Probably a
This
loss
is what
to
it
NC
take
State. I don't know why.
to wear the U.
We can't beat them at Carter
side of
Finley.
your
It's
helmet.
ridiculous.
Flag on the play.
Stanford's a
Straight
win, Virginia's a
capping.
win.
Beating Bama loudly crying
What?
tears of joy.
10-2? Is that 10-2?
Yeah. Which we could lose to Miami and Florida, being rivalry games.
Yeah.
You guys have to come to Doak. What do you like?
I'll be
Carson
there.
Beck has to come into Doak Campus Stadium.
I'll-
This isn't some orange
I'll be
bowl
there.
You're just beating
Beck versus Castellanos, Doak Campbell Stadium. I'll be there.
No, it's back against our 3-3-5.
That's fine.
We've got a new DC. We got some weapons.
All right. Let the trash talk begin. I like it. It's January 11th. Okay.
I know. Dude,
I love
Bama's
it.
on the decline. Chat's going nuts. And it's like, Alabama's on a decline. Their fans are in shambles. A third of my family are Alabama fans. And it's actually really hilarious.
Melissa wants to know what your preseason prediction was last year.
Yeah, I know. It was another
Now,
conference.
To be fair, I didn't predict y'all to win only 2 games. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, does anyone ever predict 2-10? Like, good Lord.
I'd predict UTEP to win more than 2. I'm just saying. So Nick, hey man, I appreciate you giving an outside perspective on the Beck thing and Heatherman. We welcome all opinions, man, whether we agree or disagree. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, cool stuff. You have a good one.
All right, see you later, bro.
Bye.
All right, man, it's getting started already. It's getting started already. Oh, baby. I'm going to that game. If you're new here and you're not aware, we're calling it the Doak Takeover in 2025. So we're going to get myself, and tickets have already been purchased for me and at least 9 of you to have some of the best seats in the house. We're going to make it a whole experience. We're going to tailgate. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Zach Jones, I appreciate the 2. He says, flag on the play. Straight capping. Beating Bama at Doak. Zach Jones also with the 2. Castellanos is doo-doo. Quitter. A lot of people talk about him being 5'9". Kind of given... I better not say that. Let's open the phone line. Good to see you, Dion. It's open. We'll take a few more phone calls and then we'll wrap it up. There's been some great conversations tonight. I think I've proved my point. We've given other people an opportunity. Even if I've not responded, I'm seeing what you're putting. Please speak up. Speak your mind. MS, what do you think about that 10-2 prediction for Florida State?
Dude's a joke, bro. Hell no.
They're
ain't
pretty.
going 10-2.
I will say I've talked to. It's not just Nick, and Nick can take the heat. He can take the back and forth.
I know.
A lot of Florida State fans are. They've made some changes on the staff. A lot of them, not a lot of them, some of them like Castellanos. And yeah, they're pretty hype.
You have to be, because when you're 2-10, the only way to look is up. Right?
It has to be up from there, right? And I'm not even hating.
Like
it has to be up from there.
It's like our defense. We're happy because anybody's going to be better than what we had, right?
Right. It can't get any worse than this, right?
Correct. So, I mean, again, you got to put it in perspective. I mean, of course they're going to be happy. 10-2, no. Maybe I could throw out maybe 8-5. They're not beating Bama. They're not beating the gay turds, unfortunately, which I don't like either one. If they could both lose, that's a win for us. And they're not beating us for sure. So that's 3 losses there. And, I mean, they're going to have at least 1 or 2 more in there probably. So maybe 8-5.
Look, and hey, I'm completely shifting gears here, but it's just somebody jumped in here and said Miami just got another off-season natty. Just because we're excited to have Carson Beck, and I'm kind of liking this DC hire, no national championship has not left anybody's lips in here tonight. Not even conference championship. I'm just excited to bring in another top-ranked portal QB, and I think he's a good fit. But I want to ask you again. I know I'm all over the place. Disturbed Villain comes in and says, "What's up, Coop and Canes fam? Not too happy with Beck, and I live in Georgia." So can you elaborate, Disturbed Villain? And that opens up an opportunity for me to ask MS your opinion on Carson Beck. Good pickup or no?
I think it was a good pickup.
Okay, nobody knows exactly what he's going to accomplish at Miami. That's all just hypothetical, whatever. It's purely just, do you think that was the right move that they went and got this guy out of the portal?
I do, and my biggest reason is because I feel like our run game is good. We're going to have an excellent run game, and I feel like Beck has enough knowledge to be a game manager, and that's all we need. I mean, seriously, if our defense just played a little bit last year, or this year, whatever, we're in the playoffs. I mean that. I mean that's it.
Yeah.
And I feel like our offense is the same. Yes, are we going to maybe score a little bit less? Yes, of course. I mean, it's still not Cam Ward. I mean, we do need to get one more good, decent receiver. I feel like, but I still feel like we score in the mid 30s every game. Maybe low 40s every game with Beck in our running game. And just our defense just has to. I don't know, man. If they cut off 10 points a game, man, we're winning.
Yeah. And you would like to think that happens. Again, we don't know for sure, as Melissa said, in theory. But you're right. The thing is Carson Beck hopefully doesn't have to be Cam Ward or quite Cam Ward level. And you can even go look. That's why I kept making that comparison and showed people that if you have a halfway decent defense, when you look at some of the teams in the college football playoffs, their quarterbacks aren't hitting Cam Ward's numbers. You don't necessarily. I mean, obviously, you preferred, but you don't have to.
Yours isn't that good, man.
31 touchdowns, 12 picks, and that's including last night's game. Yeah, that's the playoff numbers factored in.
Yeah, so I mean that's the same as Beck, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're getting in the playoffs. But what's good about these teams? What's good about Ohio State? It ain't their offense, but they have a badass defense, don't they?
Well, it's like they're kind of like they're more complete, like across the board. Kind of like how people kept using that analogy. We had like a 9 out of 10 defense or offense and a 2 out of 10 defense. It was just so unbalanced, so heavy on the offense, and defense just sucked so bad.
I would rather have a defense that's great and a mediocre offense, like a mid-level offense.
Okay.
Because it's true. Defenses win championships. This year proved it. We had the best offense. we can't win a championship.
Can't get to the freaking conference championship with the best offense in the daggum country.
Yep.
True.
Did you do that for Bobby Bowden?
Maybe. So then, speaking of, damn it. So speaking of defense, Heatherman, you what do you think, man?
I've never heard of him before, man.
So
I've never heard of him.
Initial impression then of this guy, based on what we
the
spoke
short
on
amount
tonight.
Of what I've watched on you and a few other channels, man, and about what his numbers are and what he did with Minnesota, at least. I mean, I think it's good. He seems like he's pretty aggressive from just his little voice message or whatever. If he's aggressive, that's what I want. Dude, I don't know. I mean, what the problem is what we need to know. What was it, the players last year, or was it just the coach?
Well, we're about to find out.
Correct. So I mean, if this guy comes in 1 year and we're like, let's just say we're leaps and bounds better. If we're even halfway better, we'll know it was the coach. But if we're just a little bit, I mean, I don't know, just a little bit better, it's got to be the players. But we're not even going to have the same because we're getting a lot of portal guys in, so we can't say that anymore either. Never mind.
Yeah, and I mean, I think with that spring portal window, I believe they definitely attack that more on the defensive side of the ball, because it's hard to do that when there's uncertainty at the coordinator position. Because then, I mean, obviously, when they bring in a new one, whole defensive staff for the most part is going to change. You don't know who your position coach is going to be. It's hard to get a guy to commit to that. I understand. So now that
I think they said Beck was recruiting, but just like Cam did.
Oh, yeah.
Beck's recruiting, and he's even talking to defensive guys. Some defensive end from Georgia, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this guy has another year here to come in and try to do what Cam Ward did. Boost his NFL draft stock through the roof. He wants to win.
The best.
And he's got to do his part and do his thing. And he can also do things like that with recruiting players. Say, hey, come to Miami, tag these guys up. And all that helps him. It benefits him and his future career and his wallet. So he's going to come out here and play hard. He wants to win.
Yep. Hey, I'll try and make it quick. Do you think Horton's going to make a U-turn and come back? Because why did he go to Alabama?
Well, then I'll ask you this. Even if he wanted to, would you take him back?
Yes.
You would?
I would.
Would y'all take Horton back? That's a good question.
Only because the game isn't loyalty anymore, man. It's pay to play. And I think he's good enough, you know. Now, I don't know how much he's getting from the other team. That would be a conversation. Like, how much would I pay for him?
I hate it because I do agree with you on I don't get super upset about the loyalty thing anymore, just because it straight up, for the most part, that's going to be very rare nowadays.
Correct.
It's just not how it works. You can get as pissed as you want about this guy said he wanted to be a Cane and now he left us for $1 million more. Well, you know, if I'm 19 years old, I might do the same freaking thing. And
exactly.
And it's just not how it works. I've said, you know, people, well, you know, back in my day, you had to ride the pine, and it didn't matter, you know, if you didn't get an opportunity.
They're right.
Okay.
Back in your day.
Yeah. Now, if
but
I
you didn't
feel
have
like
the option of millions.
yeah, if I feel like I'm a 4-star guy, and the team that I'm on, the guy in front of me just happens to be, you know, better than me. You can be good and still be like a second or third string guy. The guys ahead of you are just that much better. You could still go to another big time school, make the same amount of money or more, and be given an opportunity to play the sports you love. You're probably leaving. And I just man, look, I can't be mad at that. I can be disappointed because maybe I liked a player and felt like if he stayed, you know, he could help the team. But the opportunity is there to do that. And there's really not necessarily any consequences at this point in time to doing that. So I can't be that mad.
I think there needs to be a change. I feel that. I feel like there needs to be a salary cap for all schools. I feel like it needs to be like the pros. There needs to be a cap. There needs to be some kind of contract. I think Cam Ward should have played the whole game. Did he quit? That's arguable. He technically did quit, but he didn't in the same way. He did what he needed to do, and he didn't have to prove nothing to anybody, so he already did what he had to do. And we had a great year with him. I'm thankful for him, but he still quit. He could have went out. Do you think Mario could have told him, no, you're not going out there and play, dude? Do you really think that?
No, I think that was Ward's decision for sure.
I do too. I don't think that was Mario. Mario probably said, do you want to? And he was like, no, man, I'm good. And that's it. And that's fine. But people trying to say he didn't quit is a lie. They're lying to themselves. But he didn't quit in the sense of like he's a quitter. You know, he didn't have to show anything else, and that's fine. But that's a loyalty thing, man. You know.
Now, with all of that being said, I don't think I could take Horton back. I'm sorry. Okay. Like I don't blame guys for leaving, but I think once you do, I don't think I can welcome you back. Even if you are a good player and you could benefit the team, I just don't know if I could do it. Because like you said, it's and truly I
agree. I mean, I agree with you, but again,
but I'm not looking at you and I'm like, bro, you weren't loyal. Like, because again, that's just how it works. It's just, I think that once you leave, like, that's kind of it for me. I don't know, like,
right.
I don't know. It just feels weird.
In my heart, I feel the same way you do, but my mind, I'm like, no, because these guys don't have loyalty anymore like that. You know, I mean, none of them do.
And everybody's split. Some people said yes. Some people said no. Because, right, like, you think about, okay, what wins us football games? That's the most important thing, right? Stack up the roster. Horton's a pretty good football player. We're not arguing about if he would come back right now, y'all. We're just talking about
So
would you take him
So
back?
Daniels and Horton is our 1 and 2s on the outside. You know, they're both what's Daniels 6'4", 6'3", 6'4"?
Close to that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Horton wasn't he 6'4"?
No. See, look. Now here's the thing, though, Ian. Ian says so. We're not taking Jeremiah Smith because he chose Ohio State. We're talking about a guy who was actively on the roster,
Correct.
leaves, then comes back.
It'd be like us signing Jaden Rashada. Like, no, like the way he did us, I wouldn't take that back. At least Horton played, and then he's like, "I'm going." You know,
Right? Like
Jaden Rashada was like, "Ha ha, troll, see ya."
Jeremiah Smith has not suited up in the orange and green and played a game for Miami, so that's a little bit different for me.
What was the dude that went to Colorado that did that to us too?
Colorado.
He was a DB. He was a cornerback or a DB. He was gonna come.
He went somewhere else first, right? You're talking about it starts with a C, right?
No, he went to Colorado. He went to Colorado, but I can't remember his last name. But he was a cornerback, and he was going to sign with us.
Quarterback? Maybe I'm
corner.
crazy. Oh, cornerback. I'm thinking of Cormani McLean, who did Did he go to Colorado then Florida, or did he do Florida, Colorado?
Yeah, Kamani. That's the one I was thinking of. Yes, that dude. I wouldn't take that back. Like, no.
No, and like
don't troll us.
We talk about that all the time too. It's more than just the football side of things. You have to make sure these guys are a good fit all around. Like that they're going to fit in with the other players, you know, the attitude that everyone has. Like they have to be a good fit in the locker room, not just on the field. That does matter. Like they got to sit down and talk with these guys.
Yeah. It's becoming a pro environment, a pro style environment, because you have to, that's what pro coaches do. They have to pick guys that are going to gel and work with what their style of play is. And that's kind of how this is becoming.
Okay, my apologies. You guys are right. I thought it was Florida, then Colorado. It was Colorado, then Florida. So you're right. He did Colorado, then and then went. Okay. I had it backwards.
Yeah, I would never take that dude back. He trolled us first, and then he left. You know, Horton at least played, and then he did a good job, and then he was just like, okay, I'm leaving. You know, I mean, he didn't leave on bad terms. He's just like, see ya. It's like when you quit a job. You know, if you leave on good terms, hey, you should be able to come back when the time if you want. But
I don't know. I don't get mad at guys for leaving, but I just don't think I can take them back. But I get the argument. I get it.
Hey man, the people make mistakes. The grass isn't always green on the other side. And maybe he thought he was going to play with Jaden Milroe. Wasn't that the Alabama quarterback that just left? Didn't he leave?
Is Milroe going to? I've not kept up with Milroe, and you guys probably have a lot closer than me.
I think Milroe was going to go. He went pro. I think he was deciding whether he was going to stay, and then he went pro.
To go pro. Yeah, you're right. I think he did. Declared for the draft.
Yeah, and then maybe. So who would even be the backup? Who's the next quarterback for them? Nobody even knows. Like,
bro, I try so hard to tune out Bama because half my family is Tennessee and half of them are Bama. So
that's we're Miami fans and we hate Bama too.
People are like, Coop, don't you watch other football games? And I'm like, I really don't want to watch Alabama. Like, I'm sorry.
I know. It's like pulling the tooth.
God, every time my father-in-law, anytime they do anything, I still sitting in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and I paid for his tickets because I said, I want you to see Miami whoop up on Alabama and put Nick Saban into retirement. And the whole time, he just had this shit-eating grin on his face. Every time they had scored another touchdown, I'd look over, and he was looking right at me.
Hell yeah.
God.
Well, I'll make one more thing, and I know other people want to talk. I apologize. This championship, man, who are you rooting for? Because I hate them both. But, dude, I feel like I got to root for Notre Dame because they're affiliated with the ACC.
I'll say what I said on the stream last night, and this is the boring answer. I can't root for either one of them, but if I had to pick one of them to win, it would be Notre Dame because then we play them in 2025.
Correct.
So if they win, even though it'll be different set of circumstances, you know, roster changes, all that stuff, we will play the team that won the championship this previous year, and we get a shot at them. So I'm just saying.
Well, my reasoning is because they're affiliated with the ACC. I know not in football, which is a quotation mark, but it's still like, hey, ACC, That's my only.
But my prediction is Ohio State. I know that
I think that I do. I think Ohio State wins.
Like, I know they struggled last night. They were able to shut down.
Hey, that was a good game.
Jeremiah Smith, but I think they'll find ways to get him the football in the Natty, and I think Ohio State wins it.
Yeah, me too. All right, buddy.
All right,
I hope you're well, man. Thank you for taking my call.
Hey, I appreciate you, bro. Anytime.
All right, later, buddy.
All right, peace. Good conversations, man. MS is a good dude. Who y'all got in the Natty? Predictions, not who you want to win. Who do you got? I think Ohio State wins it, man. Pains me to say it for either one of those teams, but I think so. Jay Wood 305. Let me catch up here while we were on the phone. Let me scroll back up here. My man with the Canes fan membership. Do you think Beck will bring some Georgia players over in the portal? Maybe one guy. There's one in particular that's a possibility. More so just a couple of skill position guys that are big-time players that would come over and want Carson Beck to be throwing the football to them. So I think that Miami in that spring portal window has a big-time opportunity now that they have Carson Beck, now that they have a DC. The defensive side of the ball, the staff should be filled out. We'll know position coaches. Huge opportunity in the spring portal window to attack it. And Disturb Villain, I hope you don't think that I was attacking you with that comment. I just wanted to know, I wanted you to elaborate if you could. Because we kind of opened it up earlier and said, if you don't like Carson Beck, if you think it was a bad move, why do you think that way? Or why do you feel that way? So if I missed it, let me know if you're still here, man. I'm curious why you feel like it's a bad move. My man Greg Bush checking in as well. I appreciate you, Greg. This has been a fun stream. We'll take like one or two more, and then I'm serious. Well, 11's the cutoff. We'll cut it off at 11. Let's get them in here, though. Let's get a couple more in here. Keep speaking your mind on the Carson Beck and Corey Heatherman stuff. Good talk so far. Don't take any Georgia wide receivers. Oh, gosh. Woo! We don't want them. Georgia can keep them receivers. Yeah. Ain't that right, Zach? We don't want none of them Georgia receivers.
Oh, hell no.
Heck no, they can keep them.
They suck.
All right, so we got Zach Jones, the Georgia Tech fan, in here, and you said that you have some strong feelings about this Carson Beck situation, because I do want to say, because you had commented back on this comment last night, we had someone in the live stream last night, y'all, that is a Miami fan, and hey, look, everyone is welcome to their opinion. Don't run away just because I don't agree with it. I'm just spotlighting it and putting it out there. Someone who's a Miami fan who said they would literally rather tank the season than have Carson Beck be successful as a Miami Hurricane. And that's coming from a Miami fan, because there was that much hatred for Carson Beck or Carson Beck becoming a Miami Hurricane, which kind of just blew my mind. And I think you kind of felt the same, right, Zach?
I think from a Georgia Tech fan.
Tank for what? Oh, I mean, they just mean they'd rather lose. They would rather the team have a losing season than be successful if Carson Beck's going to be the quarterback. Sorry, go ahead.
I think from a Georgia Tech fan, somebody who absolutely despises the Georgia Bulldogs. I hate Georgia with every bone, nerve, blood vessel in my body. I hate Georgia. I can't stand Carson Beck. I think he's an ugly piece of crap who is, I think he's just an ugly person. I don't like him.
Okay, wait. I'm going to interrupt you again. We have to know, do you think I look like Carson Beck? Because if you're calling him ugly, then you're calling me ugly.
Not really. I think y'all have similar cheekbones and noses. I can see the similarities, but no, not really.
So I'm only like a little ugly then.
You're like, you know how if you have two twin brothers.
You know what? Never mind.
It's
Don't
like if you have-
don't
if
answer
you have
that. No.
Carson Beck-
Nope.
No. Listen. If you have two twin brothers, they're not identical. You have one that's like slightly better looking. You might be that guy, Coop.
So I'm ugly. Okay. All right. Continue.
No, but I mean, I don't like Carson Beck. I think he's a piece of crap person. I don't like him as a person. I don't like Georgia, but I think any Miami fan who says they don't like Carson Beck or if you don't like Carson Beck, that's one thing. But if you think he's going to be like completely, utterly trash, you think he's going to doom the team or he's going to do bad for the team, I think that's ridiculous to say. He was a top 3 to top 5 quarterback in the SEC both years that he started. He out of his 2 years as the starter, both years, even though this year his wide receivers led the Division I FBS in drop passes, he still has one of the best passing seasons out of any Georgia quarterback ever. And I'm saying that as a Carson Beck hater. The man's a good quarterback. He competed against SEC competition. If you think he's going to come in there, and I'm an ACC fan, but I got to be realistic. If you think he's going to come in here and struggle versus ACC competition, let's be realistic. He dominated SEC teams at times. He had a little bit of trouble at picks, but he dominated a lot of SEC teams.
Yeah.
And he did very well in the SEC. If you think he's going to come in here and struggle versus ACC defenses, no, it's not going to happen. He might still have a few interceptions. I mean, he's a gunslinger. It's going to happen. He is naturally a gunslinger. He throws the ball around a lot. Interceptions are going to happen. But Cam Ward had the same exact problem. He didn't have 2 interceptions on the season. Cam Ward had interceptions. Every gunslinger has interceptions.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to take some of the bad with that comes along with that, right? Like you said, you just percentage-wise, there's going to be a higher chance that you throw some more picks if you throw the football more often. It's just bound to happen.
100%. And I want to respond to what somebody said in the comments. They said, would the caller take Beck for his team? I will say this.
I think that's just well, okay, go ahead.
Carson Beck, he doesn't number one, he doesn't match Georgia Tech's offensive play style. That's one thing, because we're a very run-heavy team, where compared to Miami does like to run the ball, but they still primarily pass it, compared to where Georgia Tech, they try to do a lot more play action off of it, and then they very rarely just straight drop back. They do a lot more run schemes. So, no, I mean, Carson Beck, when it really fit the offense. And even then, I mean, us Georgia Tech fans, we love Haynes King so much that I can tell you right now. I don't really know who's the better quarterback between the two. I don't know. But I mean, personally, I would take Haynes King just because he matches the offense a lot more. Carson Beck, he wouldn't really fit a run-heavy offense. I mean, they tried to do it with Georgia, and their run game did not work a whole lot this year because their starting running backs were injured. So then when they had to force Carson Beck to pass and his wide receivers were dropping balls, he threw more interceptions because he did not have a run game. His wide receivers were dropping balls. So he wouldn't really match Georgia Tech's offense. He has to throw the ball, but he's got to have a run game as well. And Georgia Tech's like a completely different play style.
Right. Yeah, there are some good football players out there that some people would possibly pass on because like you said, it's just not a good fit for what you do offensively or defensively. Right. So that's a good answer.
Yeah. I want to speak. Hey, real quick. I just remembered this. I don't know if he's still in here, Coop. Nick Snyder.
Yeah, Nick is here. Sure. Yeah.
I'm gonna be nice, Coop. I'm gonna be nice.
Wait, do y'all play? Y'all don't play, right? No, you don't.
Florida State?
Yeah.
No. Man, Nick, I'm gonna try to be nice as possible. But dude, you gotta get off your high horse. You gotta stop smoking something. I mean, dude, there's so many. You're not beating Bama. You're not winning 9 to 10 games. Castellanos is trash, and he quit on his team. Nobody cares about Doak Campbell Stadium. Many teams came in there this year and whooped y'all's ass. Yeah, I mean, Florida State's gonna be trash again. They might make a bowl game. They might win 7 games with a bowl win if they like get matched up versus like Tulane or something.
Nick getting a lot of pushback tonight. We'll see if he's laughing in everybody's face at the end of the season. I don't know.
And look, I'll tell you, if you know, Coop, you've known me for a long time now, almost 2 football seasons now, I think, right, or maybe 1.5.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, I've come on here multiple times and I've said it. If I'm wrong, I will admit if FSU comes out and they turn everything around, and they're like top 6 or top 5 in the ACC, and they turn things around, I'll come on here and I'll be like, hey, I'm wrong. I'm proud of y'all. Y'all turn things around. I just don't see it, and I wouldn't be confident in it. I would not be confident in it at all.
All right. Fair. Now, what about Miami with Beck? Well, okay. See, that's what happens. You mentioned the Miami and Beck combo, and people get scared, man. I say, hey, what about Miami and Carson Beck? And they say, they run, man. Sheesh. All right, disconnected you. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Zach? I'm giving you a hard time, bro. Do you have anything else that you wanted to add to it? 'Cause I can bring you back on. I want to show y'all one more time. I need some kind of love music or some kind of angelic music to play here. Man, what a picture! What a duo. We're gonna look back at this picture and be like, remember that time when Dawson and Beck met face to face and shook hands? Remember that time before any football games were played with him in a Miami uniform? Y'all remember that? Yeah, shake him with his good arm. Yeah, you don't want a chance. Look, but that bad boy's healing up. Dawson has a firm handshake. Let's not chance it. Just in case. I like it. That's a safe play there. Yeah, we're going to look back at this picture, maybe in December and be like, wow. Remember this moment. Let me get him back on here. We might close with Zach Jones unless anybody else had some closing thoughts they wanted to add. Because he had something else he wanted to say. And it cut him off. I don't know why. I'm looking for you, Zach. Hold on. I appreciate y'all hanging out tonight. We're not ending just yet. But I appreciate y'all giving your opinions on Beck and Corey Heatherman. If you're just tuning in, we did a deep dive on Beck, looking at some stats, comparing him to other quarterbacks around the country. We talked about Corey Heatherman, his past, his coaching career, some big notable stats during his time at Minnesota. We talked about all that stuff tonight, got opinions from you guys, from the viewers. And it's been good, man. It's been good. Got some early trash talk going.
Nope.
All right, we got you back, my man.
I don't know why it does that. I don't know if you remember. It's done that before. I don't know why it does that, but oh well.
I thought I mentioned Miami and Beck, and you started seeing ACC championship game and had a panic attack. I wasn't sure.
I hope Georgia Tech stays consistent and healthy enough this year to where we could do something. I mean, we've got a top 20 class coming in. We're gonna have a bunch of Haynes King is gonna be a senior. Jamal Haynes is gonna be a senior. A lot of our players is gonna be seniors and juniors. Very experienced team. I don't put any expectations on my Yellow Jackets. You know that, because we could be doing good, and then next game we'll barely beat NC State by 1 point. So I don't put any expectations on us, but maybe. But as for y'all, I think y'all will. I said the other day, I was talking in the Georgia Tech group chat. I think y'all go 9-3, and everybody called me crazy. They were like, "No, they don't have Cam Ward anymore," and I'm like, "Y'all, I know we're Georgia Tech fans, and we hate Carson Beck. We hate Georgia, but let's be real. Carson Beck is going to be a solid quarterback for them. I mean, he's going to be a top 5 quarterback in the conference. I mean, he has the potential to be top 3 definitely because he was a top 5 quarterback in the SEC. He's going to be a solid quarterback for Miami, and I think if their defense does good, I don't think the offense will be as good, but if the defense, is better, I could see Miami going 9-3 with maybe losses to like Miami or losses to Notre Dame. SMU probably. Trying to remember who else I had y'all losing to. I remember it was Notre Dame, and I think y'all lose to SMU as well because I think they retained Jennings, and I think their offense might be just a little bit too much. But yeah, I mean, I think y'all will be in that 9-win range. Floor 8-4, ceiling probably 10-2.
Okay, fair. And I mean, again, we're talking about this in January, so there can be changes with all this stuff. I mean, definitely on paper, at least this early, this looks like a tougher schedule than what we played in 2024. And the only reason why I keep saying on paper is because, well, anything can happen, right? Like Notre Dame is playing in the national championship, so you would like to think they're still going to be good next year. Florida believes they're going to be light years better. That's yet to be determined. Florida State fans believe they're going to turn a corner and make big improvements, but all that's just talk right now. So we don't really know.
I wanted to speak on I wanted to speak on the DC as well. I know some people are, I saw some people in the chat questioning it, and I'll say this. I mean, I feel like it's kind of beating a dead horse. But Guidry, he was, and I mean, I know I'm not a Miami fan, but I'll speak from games I've watched. I'll even go back to 2023, Coop. Y'all had Cam Kitchens, who has had a solid rookie year in the NFL.
Yeah.
And due to Guidry basically calling a prevent defense, which puts his DBs in a bad position when you're running 4 verticals, especially if you have like option routes on those verticals, it could be bad for your DBs. It puts them in a bad spot. He put y'all's defensive players in bad spots, and then that he lost y'all that game. I mean, it was Mario, and Mario had a big part as well. But those 2 play calls where we picked up like 30 yards, and then we picked up like the 50-yard touchdown. That was pure defense. There's no reason you should ever let a team do that, especially when you have Cam Kitchens, a safety who was one of the best safeties in the ACC, and you put him in a position where he got absolutely toasted. He got toasted, and that's not all on him. He was put in a bad position where he had no help. He had to make a game-saving play, and he did not make it. And sometimes that happens, but as a DC, you have to help your players out, and he did not help his players out. And then you look at this year, and it was even worse. He did not have the DB help that he had the year before, so his mistakes were exposed even more. He was terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
I think any Miami fan that is questioning it, you should at least feel comfort in knowing we at least got better on the defensive end. You can't get much worse than you already were.
I hope. I keep saying that I don't want to say it, but surely it can't get any worse than this. That's what I keep trying to tell myself.
Right.
Because again, just for me and I think I can speak for all Miami fans with this, with the issues when it comes to communication. Anytime there was motion or any changes on the offensive side of the ball and guys were just lost and misaligned. And, at the end of the day, Guidry's a defensive coordinator. And he's got to work with position coaches and other things too. And they are teaching these players, they're scheming it up. And it just, for whatever reason, it did not work. Even if it's a combination of talent issue or not the right guy or whatever, it was not working. So
yeah, and Coop, I always try to go back and watch games as a neutral fan, and especially if it's a game that I attend in person. And I went to every Georgia Tech home game this year. except for the one that was in Mercedes-Benz versus Notre Dame. Glad we didn't go to that one. No, I mean, I went to the Miami game in person. I rushed the field, good experience, but I watched it back the day after, and I try to watch it back 2 times. I watch it back as a Georgia Tech fan. I look for stuff, that we did well, and then I try to watch it as a neutral fan, and I try to see both teams, and I watched y'all a lot. And Coop, I will say this, it killed me. Did they expect us to run a two QB system where Haynes King was basically a triple option quarterback and we had a freshman throwing the football? No. But you should have adjusted to it. And I will say this, Guidry did not adjust to it. And I will say, watching from a neutral point of view, I mean, inside, I was like, yes, it makes me happy to see Georgia Tech, succeed like this. But I'll say from a neutral point of view, it killed me. I'm like, how can you not figure out how to stop a 2 quarterback duo? One cannot throw the freaking football. If both of them could throw the football, that's a different story. But one of them had one arm, could not throw the football. All he was doing was basically QB draw, read options every single play, especially when it got down to into the red zone, where if he was in the game, you knew he wasn't going to be throwing the ball because the field wasn't spread it out as much. The receivers couldn't go down the field. You knew he was going to run the freaking football. How do you not stop it? And then you let a freshman go in there and tear your defense up. Yeah,
it was frustrating.
You can't get worse than that. You can't get worse than that.
For me, it was just I really wanted that, and I'm guilty of doing that sometimes, and it doesn't always mean anything. Like for so long, I wanted Charlie Strong to come in here and coach the linebackers. When we get Charlie Strong, it really wasn't that big of an impact, and a lot of people want to chase the big names, and like I said, I won't lie. My initial reaction, Chris is coming in here. He said, is everyone happy with the defensive coordinator? I think I am, Chris. Obviously, we want to see him put in the work. We want to see the product on the field and see what he can do. But the more I dig into the hire with Corey Heatherman, I think that I do like it. I think that I am a fan. Now, I'm allowed to change my opinion on that if he sucks ass when the season gets here. I'm just saying. But I think right now, for people who are maybe hesitant because it's he only had the 1 year at Minnesota, he's kind of trying to work his way up. I think that you can look at what he's done, what he did at Minnesota with less talent, what they were able to accomplish, and I think you should be pretty happy with it. I think so.
I think y'all are about to experience what Georgia Tech fans experienced this year, because we got Tyler Santucci. And I'll say this, I saw someone earlier, I think the previous caller, he called in and he was like, we're about to see if it was actually the players or if it was the coach. And I'll say this, we had a guy who is now at Georgia. He's a defensive analyst. He was our DC. We had one of the worst run defenses. We had the worst run defense in the country in 2023, and we had one of the worst overall defenses in 2023. And we had pretty much the same pieces as we had in 2024, except in 2024 we gained an edge rusher from USC who is a piece of crap, and he now transferred to Texas Tech, who is killing it. Good for him, but still Georgia Tech fans, he's a piece of crap. He's a money grabber, but whatever. That's just me being a fan, being mad. But anyway, for the most part, the same pieces. A new DC can do a lot of wonders. We went from the worst run defense in the country to a top 4 run defense in the ACC, all because we got a new defensive coordinator. Almost all the same pieces, except plus one edge rusher. I think y'all are about to experience what Georgia Tech fans experienced. I think y'all are going to realize it was the coach. It was the coach.
I think that the players will like the style that this guy coaches with and like how aggressive he is. I think they'll like playing for him. Zach, I appreciate you. The open, honest feedback on Beck and the defensive coordinator. And who knows? Maybe we'll see y'all in a conference championship,
Haynes King, Carson Beck, part 3.
Hey, I appreciate you, bro.
All right, Coop. You have a good one.
All right, peace. Yeah, man, Chris, we chopped it up about Beck. And for the most part, people on this channel, Chris, because right, like this is only part of the CANES community. Not every single Miami fan in existence watches this channel or is aware of it. But this group, most of the people on this channel, not everyone, that's okay. Most are okay with the Carson Beck edition. There's a few people here and there that aren't big fans of it, but for the most part, people seem to like the pickup. Myself included. Actually, even more so than whenever you and I spoke on the phone about it, Chris. Remember we talked about it when we were like, do we like this? What do we? Given how everything has panned out and the way things look now, plus what was available, it's a huge step up in that quarterback room. And we went in and we looked at comparisons, Chris. We went in and we were comparing a lot of different things. You might have to go back and check some of it out because there was some good stuff. But I like it, man. I like it. I think he's going to do good. I told Chris I had to get him on the phone so he could prove to y'all that we talked about Carson Beck being a Miami Hurricane way even before Christmas time. But there's things, if you say certain things at certain times, you will not be told future things, if that makes sense. And I didn't think it would happen anyways. I did not think it would happen. How much money do you think we paid for Beck? It's conflicting stuff, man. I've heard 2, I've heard 2.5, I've heard 4. I would think realistically closer to like 2.5 makes more sense, with like some incentives and some other things mixed in. But I can't really speak on it just because people have come out and officially said it's $4 million. Like, and then someone else has come out and said, someone who's very well plugged in with CANES football, and has said it's not $4 million. So I'm not going to pretend like I know the dollar amount because I don't. I'm not sure. I know that they were willing to pay him what they felt like he could get because they weren't going to let someone else take him. He wanted to go to Miami, and there's been interest for many, many weeks. Many weeks. But I think they were willing to give him whatever it took, man, because they knew they missed out on Mateer, and they knew that they needed to bring someone in that could elevate that quarterback room and be QB1 in 2025. Yeah, some people are trying to say that it's for MS. I was trying to find the stuff. There was some reporter who came out. What was his name? There was some reporter that came out and said that contract with Carson Beck is a $4 million deal. It was Barry Jackson. That's what it was. But the thing is there's no details here. So I don't know exactly how to take this, right? So if he says the Fox affiliate in Miami reports that UM's contract with Carson Beck is a 1-year, $4 million deal. And then he says, as perspective, second-round pick Will Levis made $950K base as Tennessee Titans starting quarterback this season. That'd be base, so there would be incentives there for that as well. But, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can go into this. That might not be just base $4 million deal. There can be things that have to happen to get it up to that. You know, what's up, Duck? And I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. Absolutely, Chris. They will attack that spring portal, and you best believe that there will be a couple more possible receivers that come in that are big-time guys. Yep. And then now, Chris, that we have our defensive coordinator, he can fill out that staff with position coaches before the spring portal window opens. You can then bring in some big-time defensive players as well. Up 2 for total. Yep. Yeah, so, I mean, that's the thing. I don't know that it's at 4. I would assume it's a little less than that and could get up to that, but I don't know. I don't know. That's going to wrap it up for me, though. Hey, I appreciate the love tonight. Bergie with the top dono, with the 10, my man Bergie. Good to see your face in here, bro. Massive thank you to everybody. Jay Wood, Zach Jones, Jordan Poole, if I missed anybody. Flick Shorts, King Muggin, Kane for Life 75, Edward Lawyer, Rock and Rant, Glenn, my man Juice, Melissa. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for the love. Welcome into the new subs. Did we fire all the defensive coaches too? Not yet. There are rumors that Jason Taylor might be retained, but for the most part, they're probably going to clean house with most of them. Yeah. There's a good chance Jason Taylor stays. But my thing is, I said, Chris, if they clean house, they clean house. I'm not mad. Even if they kick Jason Taylor to the curb. It's look, it's not hate. I'm just saying, do what they want to do. Let Corey Heatherman come in and say, if he wants somebody gone, let him be gone. You know, they got to do what they got to do, man. They got to do what they got to do. And everything was so bad defensively, I don't even care. Wipe them out if you got to do it. You know? Thank y'all for the love tonight. I appreciate the participation. The streams are back. The videos are back. So as you've seen, we're back active again. My voice is like 90% there, so we're pretty close. We're going to pump it out. The regular live streams return. I'm just closing with saying this because I know you guys get tired of hearing me talk about my medical issues. The past 4 weeks have been heck for me. I had that kidney stone removal surgery, and then what happened is the recovery was supposed to be 3 to 5 days. I had trouble coming off of anesthesia and had problems with my oxygen, which delayed the recovery. And then when they pulled the stent out, they found out that it had caused an infection. You don't want an infection up in there when you've had a stent going through your bladder and into your kidney. So that delayed the recovery even longer. So my recovery went from 3 to 5 days to about 2 to 2.5 weeks. Then immediately after, I'm talking immediately after, I caught some sort of mystery virus that was a combination of COVID, the flu, and strep throat all tied into one. And I was sick I've been sick for like, probably lasted like 16, 17 days. So I have been down and out, not looking for pity. I'm explaining my situation here. I was sick for about 4 to 5 weeks between my kidney stone recovery plus this mystery illness. I mean, I'll pass the word along. Yeah, I will let her know. Might have to try to get a doctor's note for that one. But that's why because I just had a lot of people message me, and trust me, I appreciate it. And they said, Coop, did you not see this rumor? Coop, how come you're not reporting on this? I wanted to. Trust me, I wanted to. I actually don't talk a lot, like in my real, just everyday life. But when it comes to Miami Hurricanes football, you can't shut me up. So I wanted to be here. I wanted to hear your opinions on everything. I wanted to discuss the rumors. It just didn't happen. It is what it is. All I can do is move on now that we're like 95+% better and attack everything now. So now we'll do some hypotheticals with position coaches. We'll talk about as some of those guys get canned. It just is what it is. You know, some other guys we possibly want when the portal comes up and opens in spring. We're back at it. Just because it's the off season doesn't mean anything's going to slow down. If anything, we're going to ramp it up. That's the plan. And I appreciate y'all sticking with me through all that because I was not planning on disappearing for a month. That was rough. Man, I thought that kidney stone surgery was almost rougher than the kidney stones themselves. I almost wanted to say, you know what? Just put them back in and leave me alone. I was this close. Because, man, that sucked. But for real, so much love. Thank y'all, man, for being here. For being a part of the college football family, no matter what team you root for. But there is a team, you know, is probably a better one to root for than all the rest. They're going to break your heart, and they're going to break it often. But even when they do, we keep coming back. So if you root for any other team, you should consider coming on down. That's all I'm saying. Hey, give me a go, Canes, man. New quarterback, new defensive coordinator. Big things. Big things. I'll see y'all soon. Hey, and my apologies. I know I always end up catching this right at the tail end. Gail Burak? Oh my gosh, I probably butchered it. Gail, thank you for the 5 straight to the Cash App. These are supposed to pop up on the stream, and for some reason, it's just been broke for forever. It just never seems to want to work. Gail, I got that. I appreciate it. Is your... Oh, you got 2 doggos in your profile pic. I couldn't tell what that was. It's a wooden fence with two dogs in the background. I appreciate the 5, Gail. Thank you for the love, my friend. Oh, yeah. Spam them Carson Beck emotes. Come on now, Canes fan members. Maybe I need to make it like, can y'all tell it's Carson Beck? I feel like the neck was a dead giveaway. And I'm not even hating on him. I feel like you can tell that's Carson Beck. Maybe you can't, and I need to change it so you can tell it's Carson Beck. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.